Hi boys and girls, we are here with our last story in Unit 3. We are going to be reading the story called Around One Cactus, Owls, Bats, and Leaping Rats by Anthony D. Fredericks, illustrated by Jennifer DeRubio. The genre is narrative nonfiction. It tells about real things using elements of a story. So we're going to be focused a lot on the setting. Where do you think the story takes place? Right. Takes place in a desert, and we know that because cactus live in a desert. So as we read, we're going to think about how the facts have been arranged, and then our question that we're also going to be thinking about this today is, what can we observe in different environments? So what are some things that we're going to be observing in this desert environment? Oops, I don't know why I do that. Okay. Dear two-legged adventurer, before I go any further, what can you observe on this page? I see sand, it looks a little hilly, I see some desert plants, I see some cactus, and over in the right hand corner, I see a rattlesnake. And the rattlesnake is the one that is reading or writing this letter to us. Welcome to my hot and rocky home. You may think that this place is lifeless and dull, but it's not. In fact, the more you learn about the desert, the more amazing it becomes. I think the desert is a topic you can really sink your teeth into. Get it? The desert is filled with amazing creatures and incredible plants. Some of us are friends, some of us aren't, but that's okay because we have all learned to adapt to our special environment. So that means that we can survive and reproduce. So they have found a way to survive in this very dry area, and the animals, some are dangerous and some are not, and they have all adapted to living together in this place. And we've been learning a lot about adaptations, the adaptations of plants and animals that help them survive. It also means that there are many kinds of neighbors who like to live in the same place. Some neighbors may be dangerous like me, and some, like the bat, may spend the whole night sticking its face into flowers. We're all special. Many of us live in and around the saguaro cactus. It's really a sharp place to be. Some live high above in lofty apartments, others hide between rocks on the ground, and a few live underground where it's cool. I hope you enjoy visiting our unique home. We're an unusual band of neighbors. Some fly, some slither, some hop, and a few even dance in the moonlight. Look around, but be careful where you walk. Warm regards, WD, Western Diamondback Rattlesnake. This is the desert, wild and free, a place of sun-baked majesty, with shifting dunes and rocky edges, and bushes gripping ancient ledges. Here stands a cactus, tall and grand, a haven for creatures in a waterless land. This is the cactus. The prickly cactus with arms raised high was watched by a boy with a curious eye. Who could be living in an arid ground, on this arid ground? He asked as the breeze tumbled all around. He observed the giant in the fading light, but the critters were resting far from sight, so he turned and slowly walked away. Then the creatures woke to play and pray. What are some words from the poem that describe the daytime desert? What are some words from the poem that describe the evening desert? So in 5:14, we have the daytime, and then 5:15, we have the nighttime desert. So daytime, I see words like sunbaked, waterless, arid, which all mean dry. And then the evening, we have breeze and fading light. You can see that there's a sunset going on with all the different colors, so it's getting dark. In the last line of the poem here, on page 515, it says, then the creatures woke to play and pray. So when are the animals most active? Right in the evening. That's when they hunt and roam around. Oops, didn't mean to do that, sorry. A leaping rat builds a cozy nest, a sheltered place for her young to rest. Beside the cactus tall and grand, a haven for creatures in a waterless land. A tiny owl with perfect sight, who sleeps by day and hunts by night, lives above her neighbor's nest, a special place for young to rest, beside the cactus tall and grand, a haven for creatures in a waterless land. A long-nosed bat flies to this tower and spreads the pollen from flower to flower, above the owl with perfect sight, who sleeps by day and hunts by night, who lives above her neighbor's nest, a special place for her young to rest, beside the cactus tall and grand, a haven for creatures in a waterless land. What generalization or general statement can you make about the size of the animals that live in the desert? Just from reading this page. I could probably generalize that the animals that live in the desert are small. Now, not all animals that live in the desert are small, but the generalization I can make about this page, that would be true. That would be a true generalization. Why do you think the author repeats the line, a haven for creatures in a waterless land? Waterless means without water. Now, the desert doesn't get zero water, but it doesn't get very much. Sometimes only up to an inch in 1 year, and that's not very much. So, and haven means safe. So if I read a safe place for creatures in a waterless land. So the author wants to show us how important the cactus is for life in the desert. There's a lot of animals that use it for shelter or for food. A rattlesnake with deadly teeth slides across the ground beneath the long-nosed bat upon the tower, who spreads the pollen from flower to flower, above the owl with perfect sight, who sleeps by day and hunts by night, who lives above her neighbor's nest, a special place for young to rest, beside the cactus tall and grand, a haven for creatures in a waterless land. Some scorpions with stinging tails dance along on unseen trails, past rattlesnakes with deadly teeth, slip sliding on the ground beneath the long-nosed bat upon the tower, who spreads the pollen from flower to flower, above the owl with perfect sight, who sleeps by day and hunts by night, who lives above her neighbor's nest, a special place for young to rest, beside the cactus tall and grand, a haven for creatures in a waterless land. So what is the suffix in the word deadly on page 519? What does deadly mean in this context? Well, the word deadly has the suffix ly. Deadly in this context means that the rattlesnake's bite can kill. I certainly wouldn't want to come upon the rattlesnake or the scorpions. They both are pretty dangerous animals. A den of foxes starts to stir. They clean and groom their light brown fur, while eyeing scorpions with stinging tails, who dance along on unseen trails, past rattlesnakes with deadly teeth, slip sliding on the ground beneath the long-nosed bat upon the tower, who spreads the pollen from flower to flower, above the owl with perfect sight, who sleeps by day and hunts by night, who lives above her neighbor's nest, a special place for young to rest, beside the cactus tall and grand, a haven for creatures in a waterless land. The Gila Monster with painted back crawls from a hole in search of a snack, near foxes who begin to stir and clean and groom their light brown fur, while eyeing scorpions with stinging tails who dance along on unseen trails, past rattlesnakes with deadly teeth, slip sliding on the ground beneath the long-nosed bat upon the tower, who spreads the pollen from flower to flower, above the owl with perfect sight, who sleeps by day and hunts by night, who lives above her neighbor's nest, a special place for young to rest, beside the cactus tall and grand, a haven for creatures in a waterless land. A world of survivors in a sun-baked land, all sheltered and harbored by a cactus grand. The spiny plant with its weathered face is a noble guard in this busy place. Now it's really busy at nighttime. How do you think the cactus provides shelter and harbor for the desert animals? Right, I think it provides shade and water for the animals that live near it. Okay, now here we have field notes. How are the field notes different, just by the way they look, than the poem we just read? Okay, and how are they the same, do you think? Well, the field notes are going to give us information, but it's just information, where the previous facts that we've learned about the animals that live in the desert and around the saguaro cactus was told in a format. It was a little bit more creative than just giving us information like these pages. Okay, field notes. All of the animals described in this book are found in the Sonoran Desert of the southwestern United States and Mexico. The specific species illustrated are all nocturnal. They sleep during the day and come out in the cool of night to hunt and feed. These creatures can all be found in or around a saguaro cactus. The saguaro cactus lives in the Sonoran Desert. The saguaro provides food, shelter, and moisture for a wide variety of desert animals. It thrives in rocky areas, which is good because the desert where it lives is pretty rocky. It requires very little water and can go for 2 years without rain. Surprisingly, about 75% to 95% of the cactus's weight is water. So the cactus, the weight of it is mostly because it's full of water. Fantastic fact, saguaro can grow as tall as 56 feet, weigh as much as an African elephant, and live to be over 200 years old. So that's going to provide shelter for a lot of different animals for a long time. The video that you're going to watch tomorrow, I believe, there we go to the Sonoran Desert. Well, we go somewhere. It's the video shows you a saguaro cactus, and that saguaro cactus is 30 feet tall. I can't actually remember where it takes place, but you get to see an actual cactus and how it functions as a home for different animals. Kangaroo rat. This animal's name comes from the fact that it hops over the ground like a kangaroo. Kangaroo rats reach an overall length of 9 to 14 inches, including the tail, and are often pale in color with shades of tan, cream, and off-white. Why do you think they're colored that way? Right, they would have to blend in, so they wouldn't be food for animals that prey on them. Their hind feet are large with hairy soles that aid in jumping in loose, soft sand. They live in underground burrows shaped like the letter U. They primarily eat seeds, which they gather from various plants at night. Their lifespan is less than 5 years. Fantastic fact. Kangaroo rats are so efficient at converting the dry seeds they eat into water that they need no other water source. So they're so good at getting the water out of the seeds, or the very little water that are in the seeds, that they don't need another water source. The elf owl. Elf owls like to live in the abandoned nests of Gila woodpeckers. Their nests are 15 to 35 feet above the ground. Because of the moisture stored in the cactus and the thick lining of the nest, an elf owl stays cool even when the air temperature is over 100 degrees. Elf owls are tiny birds with rounded heads, yellow eyes, and greenish yellow bill and white eyebrows. They eat insects, spiders, and other small animals such as lizards and centipedes. They can be easily identified by their high-pitched squeaky whistle. In the video you're going to watch today, after we're done reading, you can actually hear the elf owl in the video. Fantastic fact. The elf owl is the world's smallest owl. Adults grow to the length of just 5 inches and a total weight of 1.5 ounces. That's very small. Lesser long-nosed bat. This creature rests in caves during the day and feeds at night. Its eyes are best for seeing in the dark. It plays a critical role in the life of the saguaro. So without these bats, the saguaro cactus may not survive as well. When the saguaro blooms in May, the longnose sips the nectar inside the flowers. As it drinks, pollen sticks to the bat's face and is carried to the next flower. This is one way the saguaro cactus is pollinated. And they need pollination in order to make more of themselves. Rattlesnake. Rattlesnakes belong to the group of poisonous snakes known as pit vipers. These snakes have small depressions or pits on both sides of their faces. These pits are used as temperature detectors to help them locate prey in the dark. The rattle at the end of a rattlesnake's tail is made of dry, horny rings of skin that interlock with each other. They never shake the rattle when hunting. They would spoil the hunt. When they shake it, they are announcing their presence, warning that they are dangerous and asking to be left alone. The rattlesnake's venom or poison is produced in a large gland behind the eyes. When a rattlesnake bites, its fangs enter and leave the victim in less than a second. The poison is injected into the victim through both fangs. Their diet may include small warm-blooded animals such as rodents and rabbits, birds, and lizards. Fantastic fact. A rattlesnake's fangs are folded back into its mouth when not in use. Scorpions. There are more than 1,300 species of scorpions worldwide. Although some species have as many as 12 eyes, scorpions have very poor eyesight. They have sense organs on their bellies to detect chemical trails of their own species. In addition, they rely on their sense of touch to locate prey. Often a scorpion walks around with its claws spread apart until it bumps into a tasty spider or insect. Only then does it capture its victim. Fantastic fact, a scorpion's stinger is a hollow tube connected to a poison gland near the end of its tail. Kit fox. Kit foxes live throughout the desert regions of North America. Adults have a slender body, narrow skull, long nose, and a long bushy tail. Their pale color makes them nearly invisible against light-colored desert sands. The soles of their feet are hairy, which helps them walk on loose sand. Kind of sounds like the rat we learned about earlier. They also have large ears that stand up straight in the air. When the desert breeze blows over them, it cools the blood inside. Then the blood circulates, cooling the rest of the body. What a cool adaptation. They feed on rodents, squirrels, rabbits, insects, and birds. When running, they can reach speeds of up to 25 miles per hour. Gila Monster. A Gila Monster has black, orange, pink, or yellow splotches and spots on its body. It also has small bead-like scales across its back. The lizard's diet consists of eggs, lizards, birds, and mice. An adult Gila Monster grows to 18 inches in length. It prefers to live in rocky desert areas, hiding under rock ledges. It has a poisonous bite. However, they are not aggressive towards humans, which means they don't hunt humans, they don't want to hurt humans, they're pretty shy around humans, but if you were to get bit or an animal, their bite is poisonous. Fantastic fact. The Gila Monster and the Mexican beaded lizard are the only two poisonous lizards in the world. I did not know that. Why do you think the selection is called Around One Cactus? Why do you think our story was called that? Well, I do the selection, the whole story, even the field guide, discusses the animals that survive in the desert by living around a single cactus. All right, boys and girls, that is all I have for you today. I do want you to head to the video and watch that. It's pretty interesting. It goes through a whole day of the desert. You can see how the desert is not real active during the day, and there's a temperature gauge for you to watch and see how hot it gets. And then at night, all the animals start coming out. So it's pretty